Hello guys, welcome back to another entertainment roundup. I'm Jay77 and a lot of stuff has happened in the past 7 days and I'm going to be talking about these things that happened in the last 7 days. But I might as well start with the one thing that everybody's talking about, especially in the sports world. This is something that a lot of people have been looking at very carefully, been waiting for, and now we finally got the decision. It came around on a Saturday, about 16 hours ago as I'm recording this as we speak, and that is the Alice Rodriguez decision with the arbitrator. The arbitrator have held the suspension, but cut it down to 162 games. So he is basically suspended for the remaining of the season, entirely of the 2014 season. That's also including if the Yankees, in fact, does make the playoff, the postseason, and possibly spring training. Um, this is not really too much of a surprise to a lot of people, especially since WFAN and other sports vineyards and quoting reporters said that if they was going to overturn it, they was going to overturn it weeks ago, and not wait until now to actually determine the fate of Alex Rodriguez. They would have actually easily overturned it, but that did not happen. A lot of factors that had came out that led to them not overturning it. And now with the 162 games, a lot of things are going to happen. Um, First off, Alex Rodriguez is planning to file an injunction in court. Um, the New York Yankees do have extra money to spend on another third baseman if they decide to do that, or stick with the players they got right now. I seriously doubt the Yankees are going to do that. But most importantly, open the floodgates for even more drama because this is not going to end, and that's of course Alex Rodriguez won't let it end. He is still protesting his innocence. He still feels he was railroaded, and he's going to fight this tooth and nail, even if it means dragging down a lot of people with him to do it. My initial feeling on this is, granted, um, baseball has used him as an example. This was not his first time being accused of something. He actually admitted taking steroids, and that alone is why they're going down hard on him. This goes back to a clinic that which he was actually linked to, and that alone seemed to have spurred up other allegations, other reports about them taking supplements, even though, and this is something that even WFAN had mentioned, he was never tested positive for it. So there's a lot of questions about what is actually on those documents. That which, let's be honest, as a Yankee fan, I don't even know what's going on, what this means said. No one is really giving us any specific details. What we do know is a lot of controversy surrounding this whole entire case. How did they obtain evidence? There was reports they actually paid someone to get this evidence, which is suspicious by itself. The fact that the commissioner didn't testify, which may be in the discretion of how severe the case is, that he didn't need to testify, but a lot of stuff that's as come to the forefront that really made this more of a circus than it needs to be. Be mindful though, a lot of people who was also implicated in this situation have taken their suspensions, even though they were a lot shorter than Alex Rodriguez. They gracefully took their suspension. Why Alex Rodriguez is being looked at is this is his second offense, and although they could have easily went for the ban, they went for 211 games, which was cut down to 162 games, which is still considered the highest suspension in baseball history. Now, we'll read a little article here that says that explains this even more. It says here, basically what I just said here, Alex Rodriguez's drug suspension was cut to 162 games from 111 games by arbitrator Frederick Horowitz. A decision the New York Yankees third baseman vowed to fight federal court. I will get that in a second, so it's very important that we understand something right away, and why I think Alex Rodriguez is probably getting the wrong advice from a lot of people who is looking to drag this out because they wanted to milk his cash as much as possible. Rodriguez would be sidelined for any postseason games this year under the decision announced Saturday. The numbers of games sadly comes to no surprise, as the deck has been stacked against me from the day one. This is what Alex Rodriguez said. This is a one-man decision, but that was not put before a fair and impartial jury. Does not involve me having failed a single drug test. It's at odds with the fact that it is inconsistent with the terms of the joint drug agreement and the basic agreement, and relies on testimony and documents that would never have been allowed in any court in the United States because they are false and wrongly unreliable. Now, the reason why I wrote the listen, the reason why I read this paragraph is because if Rodriguez goes to a federal courts and he doesn't show why he was unfairly treated, this could get thrown out before it even begins. He needs to come in there and actually show absolute concrete proof that he was unfairly justified, unfairly treated in terms of the hearings that it's had, because and this was brought up by a lot of people who is deep inside the laws. So this is not just me saying this. It's saying that they basically, the agreement that they have with baseball, the owners and the players, pretty much forfeit any chances of them going to a civil court, or a federal or local. He will really have to prove, I shall doubt, that there was some shady business into his him being prosecuted. That's something he feels confident in. If he does, then fine, go for it. Especially if he feels he's been wrongly treated. But if not, and if he doesn't show that, he's basically gonna be setting himself for another major stumble. Here's the thing that hurt him the most here, and this is something that I think that he seriously regretted doing. He walked out of the arbitral hearing, which did not bode well for him to do, even though he felt that the evidence was mounting and piling. He still should not have walked out. He should have testified. He should have gave him some kind of reason, made him tell his tale, and he didn't do that. And a lot of people felt it was pretty much pre-orchestrated from the get-go, and that alone hurt him. I don't know what he's trying to prove. I don't know if he just felt so frustrated, but you still got to keep your calm and cool and just tell your side of the story, which he didn't do. And that alone is going to be something he's going to have to explain if any federal judge is going to hear him out, because that's something they're going to throw out there. He walked out of the hearing. He walked out of the hearing, and that's something that's very big. Another thing that really captivated me with this case, especially with this, is the fact is that we still don't know exactly what was said in that document. There has not really been much released to the public. Everybody said they got concrete evidence, this and that, but we really don't know what type of evidence it is. And that alone is bringing a whole lot of massive, maybe he is being set up, or maybe there is a vendetta the commissioner is pounding against him. And this is the thing that really doesn't surprise me if it is, because a lot of newspapers reported this. WFAN have constantly talked about, especially Mike Francesa, is that you have a commissioner who is linked to the steroid legacy. And as much as he may want to try, he's going to always be linked to that. This is a known fact. A lot of the players who have been, who have taken steroids, or even was suspicious but never really fully was convicted of anything, of taking steroids, will not be in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame will not vote them in, even if their numbers is spectacular and they had a great legacy. If they was accused of taking steroids, admitted taking steroids, or even pretty much suspicious of taking steroids, which I don't really agree with, but this is what's going on, especially with Mike Piazza, you're not getting in the Hall of Fame. They're really going to make an example, and since then they have really kept true to their word. This is the legacy he left behind, and this is largely because baseball, along with the players, along with a lot of people who was involved in that circle, allowed that to happen to the point where even the feds got involved. And the reason why the feds got involved because people actually died from taking steroids the wrong way. And this is something that, unfortunately, that Buck Selig, the commissioner, is going to have in his record for the rest of his life. And this is something that he just simply can't wash his hands on that. And I think that's one of the main things, especially from the statement that they've been making. It's almost like he's using A-Rod to try and remove himself, or basically saying, this is what we're doing now. The point is, the error that he was in was the error where steroids just simply blew up to the point of national attention. And that is something that, unfortunately, he's going to have to endure. He's going to have to, because there's no way, no matter what happens between A-Rod, or even anybody else that comes after him, he has a legacy as that he allowed a bunch of players to take steroids on his watch, and he did nothing about it. In the article, it says here the three-time MVP was given a 200-game penalty by Commissioner Basilic on August 5th, allowing the Major League Baseball to investigate the Bongos Biogenetics of America anti-aging clinic, which was accused of distributing banned performance enhancement drugs. This is the situation that came before. The Major League Baseball Players Association filed a grievance saying that the discipline was without justice, without just cause. Horace, who became a sports independent arbitrator in 2012, heard the case over 12 sessions from September 30th to November 20th. Technically, he chaired three-man arbitration. Technically, he chaired a three-man arbitration panel that includes LLB Chief Operating Officer Rob Bynes and Union General Counsel Dave Porute. Despite the ban, baseball drugs rules allow Rodriguez to participate in the spring training and play in exhibition games. So that he may actually get a chance to do that. It depends on if Buckley decide that it's not appropriate. The 38-year-old Rodriguez could fight the ruling in a court. A court judge rarely overturned arbitrating decisions. While we believe the original 211-game suspension was appropriate, we respect the decision. This is from Major League Baseball. It's a decision rendered by the panel, and will be focusing on continuing effort to eliminate performance enhancements of hustles in our game. MLB says in a statement. The union said the statement is strongly disagreed with the decision, but said we recognize that a final and binding decision has been reached. We respect the collective bargaining arbitrator procedures which lead to decision, and the union said in a statement. So even the union is saying that even though they disagree with it, there's really nothing you can do. That's why they have a collective bargaining agreement. That's why they have that neutral ground where they can meet and come up with a decision that they deem as fair. But again, this raised the question: what was in those documents? And again, as long as that thing's shrouded in mystery, we may never know what they found, what is accurate, what's not accurate. We're all gonna have this situation, and this is something that's not gonna go away. Rodriguez, and it says in the statement, seems intent on continuing to fight. This injustice is MLB's first step towards abolishing guaranteed contracts in the 2016 bargaining round, insulting lifetime ban for single violation of drug policies, and further insulating a corrupt investigation program from any variety defense by accusing players of any variety of objects reviewed, he said. It has been clear that I did not use performance enhancement drug substance as alleged in the notice of discipline of violation, the basing agreement of the joint drug agreement in any manner or in order to prove it. I will take the fight to federal court. I am confident that when the federal judge reviews the entirety of the record, the hearsay testimony of the criminals who own records demonstrates that he dealt drugs to minors, and the lack of credibility evidence put forth by the Major League Baseball, that the judge will find that the panel bluntly disregarded the laws and the facts and will overturn the suspension. This is going to get very interesting, because you got to wonder if the federal judge will even hear the situation. You got to wonder if they're going to do. I mean, they said that there may be one person out there, one judge who wants to make a name for themselves that may want to hear it, but it's still up in the air, guys. I don't know what to say with this one. but it doesn't look like he has much of a leg to stand on. I'm being honest here. I don't see him having much of a leg to be stand on. He must, if he really do have the evidence, he really needs to show it. He really needs to prove it without a reasonable doubt. And I don't know if he has enough evidence. I don't even know if his lawyers have enough to go into there. And believe me when I say it, when it comes to these kind of things between private contractors, federal judges don't want to hear it unless it's something that violates the civil rights or the process in that arbitrary hearing. Other than that, it's going to be kind of hard to do. But I will be keeping an eye because this is something that is very, very deep, and it's not going to go away. And believe me when I say this, in terms of him, this is more about legacy than anything else. As for the Yankees, they made a statement saying they respect the decision, but you better believe they're kind of happy money-wise that they now got money they don't have to pay to A-Rod because he's not playing. I will leave it up to you guys. I will leave a link to the article. You guys can comment if you want, give your own opinion on the matter. But to me, I am kind of curious as to what the hell was said in those documents. I really am. Because until we actually know concrete what it is and it's being thrown out there for everybody to see, for the public to see, there's still going to be that question mark is they really using him as an scapegoat? And even after what the hearing from the arbitrator, you still got to wonder, is he still being used as a scapegoat? I really am. Staying with sports, well, technically with sports, is Dennis Rodman. In a report that was given out a few days ago at CNN, it says here Dennis Rodman apologized for North Korea's outburst, said he was drinking, and if that's the case, he should never had no business doing interviews in the first place. Before I read some of the stuff that was said in this article, I might as well go on and say I honestly don't know if he's being used. I don't know if he really knows what's going on in North Korea. I doubt anybody in the United States know what truly goes on in North Korea unless they have secret ties as to how the country's actually run. Do I think Kim Jong-il is a person that scares me? Yes. This guy is young, and he's already proven just by the reports of him executing his own uncle that he is trying to flex his power by any means necessary, saying he's in charge. A person like that is always dangerous, in my opinion. He did not exactly make China smile in any cases for what he did because China had a good rapport with his uncle. There's just so much about that regime. And the fact he has nuclear weapons and nuclear powers and other devices he can use against his neighbors as well as us for that matter. This is the guy who I think the United States should be very, very careful and keep a very close eye. The fact that he has, and this is what led to the situation that he is hailing one of our own there in custody and has been there for a year without any kind of charge. It's really mind-boggling to me, but it really does make me ask the question of what Dennis Rodman sees in this man. It really does. Does he really? And look, I can't say that. Hey, that he should see what's going on because is he with his own eyes what he's actually doing? Because let's be realistic here. Kim Jong-il is not going to show the dark side of what that country is going to go through. He's not going to show the people suffering. He's going to show what he wants them to see, and he's going to see what Jong-il is going to show him, not what he should be looking at. So that point when he says that he sees a nice guy and everything else, of course he is. He's not going to show you the other side of him. He's not. What bothers me though is that besides the fact he was drinking in an interview, is that he seems to not understand why people are critical of him. He doesn't seem to understand why him taking a bunch of basketball players and acting like he's a diplomat for the country isn't exactly rubbing a lot of people the right way. The NBA is distancing themselves from that. Even the U.S. is distancing themselves from it. And hearing that interview, which I have seen, and was just shaking my head, is like, what are you doing? And even looking at those basketball players, those basketball players looked like they was way outplaced. They looked like they wanted to be anywhere else but there. Um, Now, look, I don't know what's on their mind. I think they did out of friendship. I think they just wanted to show unity. But to me, when I saw him spoke, and I saw the players behind him and their facial expressions, it was very clear that they was not very comfortable at what was being transpired before him. But let me read the article here. Let me just, and I'll comment about it some more. It says former NBA star Dennis Rodman apologized Thursday for his much criticized outburst about the American citizen in prison in North Korea, saying he was stressed out and has been drinking when he made those remarks on CNN. Before I go any further, is again, if you're drinking and you're not in the right state of mind, don't do interviews. Period. I don't want to hear no excuses. You should have known better. Keep in mind, you do have a reputation, and it's not clean. It's not clean. The family of that imprisoned America, Kenneth B., said Thursday that they accepted Rodman's apology for his outrageous remarks, but said that they hope his comments have not further endangered B. And that's the thing that is very, very clear. You already know this guy. He's not no hesitate executing people. You think he's not going to execute an American citizen? Really? The United basketball veteran is in North Korea for a controversial visit that has been raffled with bizarre moments, including Rodman's rendering happy birthday to the country's leader Kim Jong-il at a packed sports stadium on Wednesday. In an exclusive interview Tuesday with Chris Cuomo of CNN New Day, Rodman provoked outrage by appearing to suggest that B, who has been held in North Korea since 2012, may have done something to deserve the sentence of 15 years of hard labor. I want to first apologize to Kenneth Ben's family, Rodman 52 said Thursday in a statement. And, hey, he's 52? Oh, that's interesting. Released by the publicist Jewel Fiddler, I want to apologize to my teammates and my management team. I was also want to apologize to Chris Cuomo. B's family has said they were shocked by Rodman's comments, but the Captain America, he was in a position to do some good and help invoke Kenneth B's sister Terry Chang said Tuesday. He refused to do so, but then instead he has chosen to hold these outrageous accusations against Kenneth. He clearly don't know anything about Kenneth, about his case, and about the appeal, and about the applaud about. We were appalled by that. I'm sorry about that, guys. What am I wording here? Rodman attributes his outrage to stress. I'm embarrassed. A lot of people, which he did, there's no question. If you watch that video, or if you watch that interview, and you see his players surrounding him, they wanted to be anywhere else but him. He embarrassed them. And this is the guy who wants to do good things. You can't embarrass his country, or even North Korea for that matter. I embarrassed a lot of people, said Rodman, who traveled to North Korea with former NBA players of the basketball game against North Korea's team. I'm very sorry. At this point, I should have known better than to make political statements. I'm truly sorry. I'm glad he at least made one thing clear right about that. He said the day of the interview he has been stressful. Some of my teammates was leaving because of pressure from their families and businesses associations. He said, adding that his dream of basketball diplomacy was quickly falling apart. I had been drinking, he said, and it's not an excuse, but at the time of the interview happened, I was upset. I was overwhelmed. In a written statement Thursday afternoon, Chang said that B's family would accept the apology, as Rodman has stated being drunk and stressed is not an excuse for what he said, but we acknowledge he is human and we do make mistakes. The statement said, our greatest concern remains the health and freedom of our brother, Kenneth. We hope and pray that Rodman comments on and ongoing acts have not further endangered my brother Kenneth's health, freedom, or precious. I'm going to leave it for there. There's a lot more stuff here. I'm going to leave it for you guys to read the rest. I'll leave a link below. But this is pretty much, I think that some of the stuff he said pretty much says it all. And I will say this. It doesn't surprise me at all that a lot of family members would have pretty much encouraged the basketball players, the husbands, the mothers, I'm sorry, the wives and the mothers and the fathers not to do that. That businesses said is not want to do that because what they're doing, whether they realize or not, is putting their own reputation on the line, including their own credibility. We're not friendly with North Korea. We're just not. There's a legitimate reason for that. Rodman, I think he's trying to do something that I think that is only getting more negative effect. I know he's trying diplomacy in many ways, but the point is, from the stuff we're hearing, and that's not much, seeing how much of a gridlock that country has with media freedom, it's not good. It's not good at all. And King Him is not in execution of his uncle. From the stuff they're saying he's killing people from the ground, doesn't really make matters any better. In fact, it makes a whole lot worse. So seeing Rodman go there is just, what are you doing? That's basically what a lot of people say. You know what this guy has been accused of doing. Why would you go there? Now again, Rodman may see a different side of this person that no one else has been seen, and no one else knows. And he said that he's doing everything he can for his people. But I also got to keep in mind that he's only shown him what Dennis Rodman wants him to see. That's it. Until he actually go out there to the places that John Hill may not want him to see, period, or will flat out refuse him to see, we don't really know for sure what's going on there. Stressful and drinking, I'm like this again. Don't make the interview. If you're that upset, cancel the interview. Make a new arrangement to get your head straight by going there and saying what you did and basically making a fool of yourself. Because when I saw the interview, I said, what is he doing? He asked a simple question. All you need to do, and this is my own opinion, he should say, I don't know anything about that. I don't want to comment on something that I don't know. All right? Keep it moving. But he just went on a tirade, and it made people scratch their head and said, what was that all about? And now we find out he was drinking. It makes the matter even more worse. But I will say the family did forgive him. They did accept the apology, but they are very, very concerned, as well as they should, for the safety of a family member who, let's be honest, in a prison system like that, you definitely want to be concerned. Very, very concerned. Prison system in the United States is like a vacation compared to a lot of other prisons in other countries. Some do not have a survival rate of 5 years. That's fact. So keep that in mind. That yeah, he's not exactly in the best of shape right now. He needs to be very, very strong, especially if he's going to survive that 15 years, if he could actually get an appeal, if that's possible. What do you think about this story, guys? We'll leave a link below. You guys can comment on it. But right now, we got to go to story number 3. And that story number 3 is WWE. Yeah, I'm normally talking about WWE for a reason, guys. I was very, very torn on talking about this article. This article first came to my attention not by any news reports, but pretty much by a ticker outside of Times Square. As I was working, it came as a ticker that WWE had announced to launch a new network, a new video network. And after further reading it, which was kind of hard to find, it really was, I had my mixed feelings. But after further examine it, I decided that it's worth talking about because it is something of an interesting step that the World Wrestling Entertainment is doing. And as an added bonus, I'm actually going to leave a link to a couple of guys who does it as a podcast, does wrestling podcast. They did a very good job of covering this story, so I will leave a link to them as well. These guys did a wonderful job, and I think, especially for those who are wrestling fans, you probably get a better insight with them guys than with me. But I will do my best to give you my honest and open opinion. Let me just read this here, what I do have. It says September, WWE had officially announced, and this was something that I want to bring up from 2011. This is not something new. This is actually something they've been working on for years. So I'm going to read it from the very start. On September, WWE announced plans to launch the WWE Network. WWE conducted a survey asking people if they would pay to see WWE Network if they were a premium channel, and in an email sent to WWE fans who might be interested in the WWE Network. The survey fans for their thoughts about the WWE Network airing WWE pay-per-views to subscribers with no additional charge. The survey also noted the further repeats of Raw and SmackDown, the two main brands at the right now, as well as footage of some of their old brands, their funk brands, WCW, ECW, NWA. AWA will also make the lineup in original programming, as also noted in the survey. Survey came out pretty good. They were supposed to launch it about a few years back, but never got that push. 2 years later, it was announced again, and now, starting on the 24th of 2014, at least in the United States, we will finally have that network. This is something that will be pretty much a big change here. And like I said, everything I just talked about will be pretty much WWE programming all the time. The article said the WWE Network will be available on desktop, laptops, WWE.com. WWE Network will also be available through a WWE app on Amazon, Kindle Fire devices, Android, or iOS, PlayStation 3 and 4, and Xbox 360. Available on additional devices include Xbox One. Smart TV will follow in that summer of 2014. The chairman, Vince McMahon, has stated and all 12 pay-per-views will be featured on the network with no additional charge, starting with WWE's WrestleMania 30. Now, let me explain something why I was mixed on this. And not including the wrestling brands. I'm talking about the brands that was branched out, that is not really wrestling related, but more programming related. WWE had done this before. Not much in the streaming format, but other channels. They had a cable channel called WWE 24/7, which I wouldn't say defunct, but went to a different type of WWE programming. I think it was on demand, and that didn't pretty much pick up anywhere time soon. We also have other venues that WWE have tried and failed. One being pretty much still considered the biggest fail of them all, the XFL. And so when I heard this, I'm like, really? Another channel, another streaming channel? Why? You guys didn't do too well with the other ones. And to me, this is where I really am shaky with this new venue. Keep in mind, they attempted this a few years ago, never got off the ground. It was quietly kept shoved on the rug. A few years later, they tried again, and now we officially got it. But still, I kind of wonder what the state of wrestling is right now. Is people really that hungry to get this? And I don't know if people are going to flock into it and pay for a description to see classic wrestling, unless they have something more to offer. Other than that, I don't really see this lasting too long, unless they really push for other stuff. Now, keep in mind, they still have WWE Films, which has been more direct-to-video, more so than theater release, but they could put some of their work there. You also have other programming that they could bring back. I know somebody mentioned they could bring back Tough Enough, a reality show, so they can do a lot of things because it's their own network. But that's the whole thing. I don't know what other stuff they have lined up that can actually help boost this channel even more. So I'm not very much jumping for joy at this yet. I want to see how this works. I want to see how they go about doing it, because again, some of the decision made with the other brands have not voted well with me. As a matter of fact, a lot of stuff they have made in terms of the decision of how to push their brand hasn't voted well with me over the past 10 years. With this being said, with everything I'm saying, I will say this, and this is something that's very important, because I'm not all down on this programming. From what I understand, from what people has been reporting on, the description for WWE's network is $9, I believe $9.50 a month. And I gotta tell you this, as a person who loves pay-per-view, a person who lives with the WrestleManias and the SummerSlam and the Royal Rumble, along with the other side pay-per-views they have. If that is the case, and you're paying a monthly subscription of $9.25 a month, and pay-per-views are no additional charge, that alone is worth the price to buy the subscription. Let's be reasonable here. Pay-per-view events for WWE has skyrocketed. It's very, very expensive. I don't know how much WWE WrestleMania 30 is going to go with, but I guarantee it's not going to be $30. It's going to be somewhere within the $60s, even $70 range. And to me, the money they're asking for these events, especially how watered down they are and how unappealing they are, which, let's be honest, the last few ones hasn't really, made me jump for joy as it was for wrestling in the past. You really got to ask yourself, is it worth spending all that money for a pay-per-view event that has actually been watered down to a second tier? The last WrestleMania that they had, WrestleMania 29, which was in New York and New Jersey, was not good at all. I'm sorry. It was not good at all. Two matches stuck out to me. Two good matches. I didn't care about The Rock and John Cena. If anything, it was already predictable. I did not expect Cena to lose twice in a row. I didn't. Even though I had a funny feeling that was going to give The Undertaker the victory, even though it was reported that this may be his winning streak may actually end at 20, the death of Paul Bearer pretty much solidified that they wasn't going to let him lose in that match. And he didn't lose in that match, but it was still a good match. But other matches I didn't care for. I didn't care for the Triple H and Brock Lesnar. I didn't. It was boring. But this is the whole thing. Some of the matches are not really, something that piques my interest, but yet they're charging a lot of money as if these were the greatest matches of all time. And I often wonder why spend all this money for a pay-per-view that's really not worth the hype. But as a person who can stream it through WWE Network and pay one monthly fee and get WrestleMania and get SummerSlam and all the other pay-per-views without even charging me $60, $70, or even $80, that's a steal right there. That is actually something that I will consider as a wrestling fan, a person who lives, breathes wrestling. This is a great deal. So I'm seeing the upside from this, especially for those who are tired of forking all this money for pay-per-views. This is an upside. This is an upswing from what people has been paying for down the road. And they were saying this in the podcast that Vince, if the cards come out right and he has enough subscribers, that's almost $100 million in his pocket. So this is a big, big move for him. So even if he was tend to lose on the pay-per-view with the cables and satellite, he still gains on his own streaming network. And that alone to me, if the person wants to save money, that alone is worth the price of getting the subscription for WWE Network. Because let's be honest, pay-per-views are just too damn expensive right now. They're just too expensive. And who pays every single month for a pay-per-view event? Keep in mind, they got 12 events. That's one pay-per-view per month. That's almost covering the whole year. Not everybody watches WWE pay-per-views every single month. It's just not happening. And this pretty much may change that, because now $9.25, $9.50 a month. Okay, no problem. I'm here charging my card. Can't wait for that next pay-per-view. And you don't even have to worry about paying extra money because it's there. The only downside of it is that will it stay at a reasonable price as this thing gets popular. Because if it gets popular and you got a lot of subscriptions, you got to wonder if Vince McMahon may say, okay, we got to charge an extra $15 a month or $20 a month. So it gets that possibility of it going up, depending on how many people they got, depending on what new venue they're trying to go with, depending on what they actually have on that channel. And that's something that I will be keeping an eye on because, and on the one side, I don't have confidence in the WWE to actually bring out a standalone brand because of the past that they have done with all the other brands they had under their watch. On the other flip side is, if this actually works and they actually do it right, and the pay-per-views are going to be no extra charge with the $9.50 per month, this could actually work as a big money saver for consumers who love WWE wrestling. So this is definitely something that has the pros and cons. You just got to figure out whether or not it will actually work. And I do know one thing, though. If this does work, cable, as we know it, is pretty much about to shrink to non-existence. Because now you have a networks basically doing their own thing without the assistance of cable. It's coming, guys. It's definitely coming. Cable's in serious trouble. They're living on borrowed time. Streaming is becoming new, and it's growing. It's growing fast. But what do you guys think about that? What do you guys think about it? Let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you think. And with that, I'm moving along with two more stories. I might as well just talk about this one first, and then I'll end it with the last one because it's the least important one. But I might as well just let you guys know that Amanda Bynes' case regarding her throwing out a bong out the window may be tossed out, maybe dismissed, as long as she continues to go over counseling twice a week, the judge ruled on Friday. Bynes, as you know, was charged in New York last spring with reckless endangerment and marijuana possession after a building manager called the police because they said she was smoking pot in the lobby of her Manhattan apartment. When the officers entered the 36th floor apartment, they said that the Hairspray actor, star 27, appeared in court in a wig. I think I'm missing something. Okay, here we go. There we go. Sorry, my page is actually broke here. Again, let me just read it again. It says that Bynes was charged in New York City last spring, the reckless endangerment and for reckless damage, marijuana possession, after building managers called police because they said that she saw she was smoking pot in the lobby of the Manhattan in a Manhattan apartment, which she no longer has. When the officer entered the 36th floor apartment, they said they saw her have the bong out. They saw her have a bong out the window. Basically, she just tossed it. The Hairspray star 27 later appeared in court dressed in a blonde wig. Said she didn't do anything wrong. It was at one episode in a string of incidents involving Bynes last year. She was institutionalized in August after authorities said she set a small fire on the driveway of a home in Thousand Oaks, California. Her mother, Lynn Bynes, was granted temporary conservatorship over the actress, but the case was dismissed because Amanda's care was being overseen by mental health courts. The Manhattan judge allowed the dismissal on Friday, which means that the actress does not have to admit guilt. She must attend counseling twice a week for 6 months and cannot be rearrested or the deal is revoked. So that's pretty much it. She said as long as she ain't being rearrested during that time, you're okay. Bynes didn't appear in court. And a vendor filed on her behalf, attorney Junard Segal, I believe, said she understood the agreement. This is an important step in her rehabilitation. She is pleased with the results, he said, outside the courts. I'll say this, and there's some more that's being put on here, but I'll let you guys read the rest on your own. Sorry for some of the big words that I couldn't pronounce. I do apologize for that. But it was very clear from the time she was institutionalized that there was something going on, and there was something more mental than anything else. Keep in mind, uh, she was in mental care since August. She recently got out. She recently got out just about a few weeks ago. So there was definitely something going on, and they was not going to release her until they actually figure out what it is. Now, of course, there's no reports as to what happened, what was being said between them, what counseling she was because that's confidentiality. But it was very clear that she was really pretty much over the edge, and she's continuing to regroup, try to get herself back together. But there's no question that she was definitely all over the place, and hopefully um, the star can actually get back on track. I think her movie career is over, and I think that honestly, I don't think she cares. I didn't think she cared from the very beginning. I think that that was one of the main things that actually caused her episodes to begin with. Uh, but my main hope for her is to actually see her bounce back from that and have a nice normal life, pretty much off the camera set, because I think that was one of the major issues that is had done. Who knows? She may actually make a comeback on film, but at this moment in time, it's highly unlikely that's going to happen. I'll leave a link below, let you guys talk about that. Let you guys comment on that. But I might as well get on to the last one, considering that I'm almost at the hour mark. This one actually caught me kind of by surprise, considering Europe's some of the stuff I've seen on Europe TV as of late. But apparently, Miley Cyrus and Britney Spears have been banned from daytime TV in France. Now you're wondering what she have done to actually get this ban. Well, really, it's not really much what they have done recently. It was the video they had that they had made. I'm going to read it. Say it's a very short article, but it says apparently Miley Cyrus and Britney Spears are too sexy for France to handle. Well, at the least in the daytime, the French Broadcasting Watchdog Council has determined that Miley Cyrus' Wrecking Ball and Britney Spears' Work Bitch video are not suitable for daytime television. The music video may now only be shown after 10 p.m. at a time where most adults' appropriate context sneaks into the screen. The CSA said that Cyrus' naked construction swing are too sexy, explicit, and that Spears' bondage in the video depicting a sodomistic universe, symbolic universe representing women in a way that risks shocking many viewers. And that's pretty much what it says here. So basically, they wasn't completely banned, but they're not going to be shown at a time where kids can be watching it. And again, does kind of shock me, but then again, I don't really know the gist of how their FCC's version of censor of monitoring television shows are. I do know they're more looser than a lot of things. So this one did caught me by surprise that actually is their main concern. But again, I'm not going to go nuts about it because it is their rules, there's their country. I may not agree with it, which in this case I kind of sort of understand the Wrecking Ball thing because when I saw it, it was like, really? You couldn't sing this without your clothes on? But okay. But I didn't see the Britney one yet, so I can't really say what was the big deal here. I know I saw Miley Cyrus one. I know I saw a lot of reviews for it. Again, I can kind of understand that part there being a little bit too out there and too explicit. But again, I'm seeing some of the French networking. I've seen some of the documentary of French television, and some of the stuff they have with their game show really does bother me more so than the Miley Cyrus swinging on a wrecking ball with no clothes on. I'm referring to a game show where the contestants actually drink their own urine. Yeah, they actually have that in Europe, and it's like, wow, this is it. Where commercials where a couple is literally having sex on this commercial to advertise bath soap. I mean, I've seen some crazy stuff. So seeing this, it's just like, really, this is the one that says this too much to handle. Have you seen some of the stuff you guys actually put on television that you guys actually have in that country, and pretty much in Europe in general? You guys are going after this one. But hey, what do I know? I mean, keep in mind, Europe did ban Nicola Finney's photos of perfume because they thought her position was too provocative, even though there was really nothing wrong with that photo at all. But then again, that's just me. But to me, if you want to say that it's provocative, I can't say that they're wrong. That's fine. It's going to be on 10 o'clock where actual adults should be watching television and kids should be in bed. Britney Spears, I can't really say much about it because I haven't seen anything. So it's kind of hard for me to say what was on there if I didn't see it. But for the most part, it was just kind of weird. They're more loose in terms of sexual expression, yet they banned this. So what do you think about this, especially those living in the UK? Do you think that they was in the right for doing this? Let me know. I'd like to hear what you have to say. I'd like to hear what you have to say with all the topics that I brought out. Sorry, I'm making this a little bit longer, but I did want to talk on some things that are very important. And again, as always, if you guys have something very important you want to say and talk about and leave a comment in the session, I'd like to hear your feedback. Please, by all means, express yourself. Until then, it's J77 saying take care, be safe. I'll talk to you soon.